Hi, everybody. Hassan Shariq, regulated Canadian immigration consultant, back with our live weekly session on Canadian immigration, and it's been a while. Due to some personal reasons, some health issues, I've not been able to do this particular session or even upload a lot of videos on my my various social media platforms. I missed the activity, and there has been a lot of comments and queries from all you lovely folks, where people have been asking me why I'm not doing it. So for certain reasons, I've not been able to do that. And I believe it's not going to be as regular, but I will try and do these social media posts and stuff a little more frequently now. As I said, it's been a while. I think about 5 to 6 weeks that we have not done this session, if not more. Quite a lot of updates. With this particular session, I'm doing it from home. I will be talking quickly about a few updates, and quite a lot of updates have happened. And then if you have your questions, I will be taking those questions. Not only that, I am considering that from now onwards, I would want people can post on these posts. I see, I'll wait for like a minute or two wherein some people can join in, and then so do mention your name, where are you joining this session from, and we'll have a good discussion on that. I see my lovely uncle, who's like a mentor to me. He's just posted over here. Really good to see you, Mamu. What I'm planning to do is that from now onwards, in upcoming sessions and videos, I will be, if people can post over here. I know there's a lot of people who've already had their ECS done or who are part of the process. I will be from now onwards calling in more and more of my clients who've gone through this process, and I will be asking them questions. For all of you who are looking to do this process on their own, to know that what are the steps, what are the possibilities, what one goes through. I will also be looking for people who've done it themselves, and many of you can do it yourself. Many of you do it yourself. There's absolutely no need to hire anybody. So I will be looking for people who've done different pieces of the immigration process themselves. Please come forward. You can mention yourself on the comment section if you're watching this on Facebook, if you're watching this on YouTube. Please mention about yourself, and I will be looking for such people. Like if you've only done your ECA, it will be a great opportunity where I can take you on the live call, and you can tell other people about your ECA process, because there's so many institutions out there. There are different requirements, there are different outcomes that people get to have. Your challenges in terms of language ability tests, other such stuff, so that more and more people can gain from the knowledge of others. And so that's something I will be doing in our coming sessions. Also, one of the things that I have in my mind is that I have to sort of shape it up. I will be taking some of you in the live session, like a 5 to 10 minute thing where we can discuss your case. I know not everybody would want to use the services of an RCIC or immigration lawyer. There is cost to it as well. But I would really want to help people out in a way that if you have the right profile, I would love to discuss that profile here in our live show, our session, and that can help people know that what are the options or how to go about things. So all those who would be interested in this, please in the comment section, if you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, mention that you would want to have a 5-minute live discussion with me. And we'll do this in one of our upcoming sessions. Do mention which stream are you looking at. If you have done your process yourself, or you've done some pieces of the process yourself, like an ECA, or you've created your express entry profile, do mention that, and I'll be picking those people. I'll get in touch with you, and then we can discuss as to how we go about further. Some important updates. I already see a few questions coming in, and I will get back to those questions. Some important updates. So one of the important things that has happened in the time that we connected through these sessions and videos is that Government of Canada, the Minister of Immigration, has presented the new immigration level plan, the immigration level plan for next 3 years, 2021 up until 2023. Now, this is an important policy paper that is presented by the government every year. And this sets the tone of immigration policy in upcoming years. Just like every government presents a budget, which talks about how the government is going to look after the finances of the country, immigration level plan is a similar document in terms of Canadian immigration. Some great news. A lot of people were thinking that because of the COVID situation, Government of Canada might actually restrict immigration levels. Economy has been hit, but a lot of people thought that because of that, they will be taking less immigrants as there's less jobs. But the government has a different plan. The government is actually going to invite more people, more immigrants into the country, and that is what they see as a stimulus, which will help grow the economy. Because a large number of the immigrants that come every year to Canada, they're skilled migrants. They bring with themselves expertise, technical skills in various fields, which are required. And, a lot of them, they move in, and that helps the local businesses grow. A lot of them become entrepreneurs or freelancers, so that's there. And then there is a good chunk of people who move to Canada every year as business migrants as well. So, they bring in investment, their business acumen. So once they move in and they establish their businesses, there's the need to employ more people. And these are the people who come through the skilled migration streams. So they have proposed to increase the numbers by a large margin, good about 20% increases over there, which is great. So a lot of people who were outside of Canada, and because of the high CRS scores, they were stuck. I think there is really good opportunity for people in the coming year, and it's opportunity all across, because the federal numbers that Government of Canada has proposed is good about 20 to 20, approximately about 20% more than the numbers for last year. So there will be more and more federal focused draws and invitations. If more and more people in the federal streams are invited, that means that the cutoff CRS might actually drop down. And we've seen that last few draws that Government of Canada has done for express entry, they stood at about 5,000 invitations, which has been the largest number of ITAs issued ever in the express entry system. And we've had about 2 of these. And we saw the impact of that. Although now there are more CRS points allocated to people who have French language ability. So even that update, which brought the score at a higher point compared where it was. But then we saw that 2 express entry round of invitation back to back, actually after a week, 5,000 people invited, then again 5,000 people invited, and the CRS drops to 469. So this has not happened in long. Now, if the trend continues, like even if it's not every week, but even if it is every 2 weeks, and it's about 5,000 invites, that actually means that the CRS might even drop to mid 460s or early 460s as well. And this is what I foresee now. Also, with numbers being increased for provincial nomination allocations, we know that a lot of provinces this year, because of the COVID situation, did not invite as many people as they were even allocated. So Alberta is a major example, and Alberta is a big province. They tend to invite a good number of people under PNP. They were allocated something like 6,000 PNP allocations. They only utilized 4,000 of that. So next year, for the next immigration plan that is there for 2021, the number of allocations for provincial for the province has been increased as well. That is a good increase of about 20%, which will mean that provinces will have more allocations. If they have more allocations, they will invite more people. For the provinces who are already inviting, Ontario is one of those examples. I say to all my potential clients, or even generally people who are seeking advice, that certain professions, tech professions, there is a general stream where marketing and sales managers and some other professions like auditors, accountants and auditors, such people are there. There is opportunity in Ontario. You need to have a high CRS score. There's no denial to that. But with the federal scores coming down, the cutoff score for Ontario is going to fall as well. And last year, or the year that we are in, which is just about to end, there was about 7,000 spots for the province of Ontario. Now, next year, if that increases by, say, 10, 15%, that's close to 1,000 more spots. Now, if they can invite 1,000 more people, and even if half of that is for their human capital priority stream, that's a good number. So, so there will be more and more PNP options as well. Some other provinces, some smaller provinces, which were not inviting people at all from overseas, we might see those opportunities. So there is a lot of opportunity in coming year. It had reached to a point where it had become a little too competitive, and there wasn't a lot of room. But I see 2021 to be a much better year in terms of opportunities for people outside of Canada. And for those of you who would want to take the benefit of this, a lot of people on the social media, I see a lot of people asking about it, and you have to be part of the process. I keep repeating this. Last year about this time, I made a video. It was actually in my native language, Urdu, and it became pretty popular, wherein I talked about how I see Canadian immigration in this year, which was the upcoming year at that time. And I re-emphasized this thing, and I keep re-emphasizing it, that if you're interested about Canadian immigration, no matter what your profile is, and you seriously want to take the stance, then you have to take the steps. Unless you take a few of these steps, you're only looking at stars. Ielts, a lot of people who write to me and say that, okay, all this is done, Ielts yet to be taken. Start preparing for Ielts and start taking Ielts or other language exams. Unless you have that, like if you've taken Ielts in the past and you know of your English language ability, that is one thing. But if you've never taken Ielts, and you're really not confident about how you will do on that, then all other calculations at times are immaterial. So have your language test done so that you have something in mind, that where are you standing, or what is a realistic possibility. You might just be lacking few IELTS points in one or two modules, so it makes sense. Get done with your ECA. There's about 4 to 5 different bodies that do your research and and see where are you able to get the best assessment of your educational qualification. Get done with these. Once you're done with these two things, now you're in a much better position to actually take the benefit of all these opportunities. You have your express entry profile made, you have your expression of interest done for various provinces. They invite somebody with low scores, and there is a good possibility that you'll be invited as well. So that's how you should move on. So with this, I will talk about the express entry pool and the draws and all that stuff in a separate video. As I mentioned, that I've for some personal reasons I've not been able to do a lot of work actually. I'll do that in a different video. I will take the comments and questions for now for this video, and we'll see how it goes. Arshad Aslam saying Assalamu alaikum. Wa alaikum Arshad. I hope you're doing well. Do mention where are you signing in from, and you could mention about your profile as well. For those who just joined, I have mentioned this, that from now onwards, I am looking for people who've done the process themselves or are in the process and have done some pieces of the process themselves. Do mention if that is the case, and in next upcoming live sessions, I will be looking for such profiles where I will take you live on session for like 5 minutes, and you can share your experience as to where are you in the immigration process, from where did you get your ECA done, what documents have you obtained. This will be greatly helpful for all the people who want to do it themselves, and this is where I can provide some legal aspects to things as well, and this will be learning for all of us. So if you are one such person, do mention that in the comments section, and I'll be getting in touch with people like that. If there are people who've done the whole process themselves and have already been approved or are in Canada, I'd be looking for that as well. Perfect. Sana saying salam, walaikum assalam. Sana, Sachin, hi Shariq, when will the CRS scores go below 461? When? That's $1 million question. If I had an answer to that, I would have become the richest person. I can't say if it will go below 461. That's still a bit of a stretch. Right now, let me open the browser and look at the people that are there. So I will share my screen with you. Okay, so you might be able to see this. So see if we, Sachin, this is specifically for you. If we look at the express entry pool right now, a few days ago, you see 451 to 500. This has about 25,000 people in it. And that's a healthy number. Now let's have a look at the breakdown further. So we had our cutoff at 469, right? So that's 461 to 470. This is where the cutoff was. Now, if you see above it, about 1,600 people were here in 471 to 480, and then a few hundred here and there. So with 5,000, if we say that these top, this turned out to be about, say, what, 2,500 people, and then about 2,500 people were taken out of this portion. So see, those about 2,500 people taken out of this score range, it still was at 469. So there's a large number. There's about good 9,000, 9,500 people who had scores between 461 to 469. There were some on 469 who might not have been invited. So it's still a very healthy competition in here. Important thing is, whenever the next draw happens, if it happens in 2 weeks from the time that the last draw happened, how many people entering the pool have a score of 469 and above this? Now, realistically speaking, it's not going to be as many as like the people entering the pool will not be as many as the number of people who moved out of the pool with this score. So if it is a draw after 2 weeks from this particular draw, the number is around 5,000. Even if it is about 4,000, between 4,000 to 5,000, the expectation is that CRS will fall down. How much? That's still to be seen, because as I said, 12,000 people in this score range, 461 to 470. This is a very competitive number. This will take very frequent, large draws with 5,000 people on a frequent basis to bring this down closer to 460s. So in all honesty, the score falling down below 461, I don't expect that at least in about 2 months. I don't expect that. 2 months, if there is a draw every 2 weeks, we're talking of about around 4 draws. So it might only be after about 4 draws that it might drop down to 461. But CRS will drop if we continue to see the same frequency and the same number of ITAs being issued. Perfect. Moving on. Sayyid Ghayas Ahmed is saying, Salam Walaikum Assalam, Ghayas. I am from Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and wanted to know, since Canada have increased the nomination number, do you think the CRS can come down to 450s? 450, I think I've covered that. Even anything below 460 is something which I don't see happening in the near future. Let's see how it moves forward. We also have to. It's not just the immigration plan numbers. It's also that how many people are entering the pool. We've seen for long that the number of people entering the pool was not as big. A lot of people were not able to get their ECAs done. That got sorted. So ECAs are all being done. I've had a lot of my clients in the recent days had their ECAs finalized and in a pretty quick manner. So the ECAs are back on track. And now language tests are being conducted as well. In a lot of parts of the world, the language tests are being done. So a lot of it depends on how many people are entering in the pool as well. One feeling that I have is that because it has become so competitive lately, only people who have high CRS or who have the potential of having a high CRS, they're getting their express entry profiles made. And because of this, even if the number of people entering the express entry pool is not as high, the proportion of those entering the express entry pool tends to have high scores. So that's why we see that the numbers which are up in the 401 to 450 and then 451 to 500 score range, these are very competitive places. So 451 to 500, I see right now stands at about 25,000 people. This used to be about 23,000 people. And now, one of the reasons for this is that they've actually increased the score that one can have for French. So that might have pushed more people into that. So let's see how it plays down. But 450 or anything below that is still a bit of a stretch. You might look at some PNP options. Naveed Malik, hi Shariq, 452 under CEC, any chances in 2021? I don't expect targeted draws anymore. I believe it is going to be all-inclusive draws, and 452 is still a bit of a stretch. There is somebody who's Facebook user, I need spousal immigration, please. For sure, if you are married and you have and your spouse is a Canadian permanent resident or citizen, you can apply for the spousal immigration. Actually, they have to apply for you. If they're a citizen, they can apply from outside of Canada as well. If they are only a permanent resident, they have to apply from within Canada. Right now, it is a paper-based application, but an update is that where they will be moving towards a digital format of that. That will be great. So your spouse who is a Canadian PR or citizen, they have to submit the application where it is two pieces. One is the sponsorship application by their side, and other is your PR application. If you would want to know more about that, you can leave a comment, and if you or your spouse want to discuss about the possibility of that case, you can book a consultation session. Sumit, I have received a request to submit my biometrics. Does it mean that IRCC has checked my docs and my background and I am only one step away from PR? Great news that they are asking you for your biometrics. It is definitely a step ahead. You are moving towards the right direction, but this does not mean that this is the final step. Biometrics are requested early on as well. On the basis of biometrics, they have to do a lot of scrutiny. Document assessment, document review happens simultaneously. They do a lot of security clearances. They use biometrics for that. Previous track records, they use biometrics for that. So a biometric request does not mean that you're at the final stage. But yes, it is a step towards it. Once they ask you for your passport, that is the final step that they've sort of done all of it. They'll ask you for your passport. The passport will be sent to the local High Commission, wherever you're residing. The local High Commission there will be a final review again, but that's like majorly good 90% of your case has been assessed. So good luck with biometrics. It's part of a process, but not the final. Arjun, hi Arjun. It's been a while. Arjun is a regular attendee of our sessions. Arjun, I know you've been doing quite a lot of process yourselves. I would greatly appreciate if you could leave a comment in terms of your willingness, and I would really want to take you on to one of our live sessions on like for 5 minutes live on, because you're doing a lot of process yourself. It will be great if you can share your experience, all the processes that you've done. I can provide some technical guidance on that while you're there live, and that will help a lot of other people gain insight and know how to do a lot of things on their own. So if you are willing to share your experiences, whatever you've been doing by now, do leave a comment somewhere, and I'll get in touch with you, because it has to be consent if you would want to share all that. Coming to your current comment, good to see you. Good to be e-connected again. I'm glad to share you that me and my spouse have received an ITO. Brilliant. That's great news. I didn't come to this point in the latest draw. Thank you for being a part of our journey till now. Great news. And Arjun, I'd really request if we can have you on a live session, probably next week or the week after, and we could discuss as to what have you done so far. Like you had your ITA. So definitely you've done your IELTS, definitely you've done your ECN stuff. So you could share that. A lot of people will benefit out of that. What documents are you getting ready? And this will be a great opportunity. We can actually do it like a good 10 minutes for you, where I can talk you through about the documentation that you would require to submit as part of your IT application. And this will be great learning for all. So please do leave a comment, or you have the email address on the screen as well. You can just drop in an email as well, letting me know if you're fine with that. Fair enough. There's quite a lot of comments today. I didn't expect that much, so I'll have to move through. This was Sumit. Sumit again asked, what's the current processing time for FSW candidates after submission of all the documents? There's a lot of delays. I've had a few clients for whom I have submitted their application under FSW in about a month's time, a few of them, and still no update. There are a few who are a few months down the lane, so some updates have happened. I would say right now, FSW applicants should expect 5 to 6 months and nothing less than that. But it varies from case to case. But 5 to 6 months is a realistic thing. It can definitely go beyond that. Rakshita, hey, what are the chances of Alberta PNP program? So Rakshita, Alberta for now, it's a major PNP program, a major province, but they've not really been inviting a lot of people. And that's been an issue, as I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the session, that they had about 6,000 allocations. They've only utilized 4,000 of that. They themselves announced that they're not going to do it. Right now, they're not inviting people from outside, not just outside of Canada, but even outside of the province. But with things opening up, also with COVID situation, sort of now with the vaccine and all that, there is a possibility that things will improve. There is possibility in the coming year, but right now it's kind of they're not all that active. Ajay, hi Shariq. Hope you're doing well. My question is, if we can't give biometrics, then during that time, do they process other parts of an application, or it stays still until we provide biometrics? Now, this depends a lot on the type of application that you have, but it's not that they don't process it, and especially in these days where they know that there are such issues. And also, once you submit your application, they know that which country have you submitted your application from and what is the situation in that country. Our biometric centers. So it's not that they completely put it on a hold, but until you submit your biometrics, your application is not complete. So they cannot make a final decision. So they will not reject it. But as I said, that depending on what application you have, biometrics is an important piece. They have to do a lot of other scrutiny based on biometrics. So don't worry that if you've not been able to submit your biometrics, that your application is not even being reviewed. That's not the case. Kashif Sami, Shariq ji, love your channel. Can being overweight, obese be a reason for medical obesity? Not at all, buddy. Not at all. Your weight is your personal choice. Medical inadmissibility is only in very serious cases, and even if you have these medical troubles which are very common, like if you're a diabetic or you have blood pressure or these kind of things, no issues. They don't have a problem with that. Canada has a very good healthcare system, If you move to Canada as a skilled person, the local healthcare system will take care of that. Only in cases where certain disease which can be a threat to public health, public safety, like if it's a contagious disease, that can be a medical inadmissibility, and it's a permanent disease, not an infection, because right now COVID is something like that. So it's not that if somebody has COVID at that time that they will say no, because it's only a temporary thing. But if you have a disease which is regular, like tuberculosis and things like that, then there is a problem. And only if so every year, Government of Canada comes up with a figure where, on average, what is the amount spent on per person in Canada in terms of healthcare. Now, if your disease is such that if you're being treated here in Canada and the cost for that is way more than what normally is spent on one particular person, then it might be an issue. But these things are not an issue. So Kashif, don't worry. Definitely lose some weight, get in shape. That is good for you, but that will not be a reason for medical inadmissibility. Facebook user, please help me for study visa nowadays. I don't know what are the details. I can't really help. You can book a consultation with me, and I'll let you know. I don't really do a lot of student visas because people at times are not really don't really have the right objective, and it's a lot of time consuming thing. You can book a consultation and I can let you know what are your options. My visa is pending from Jan 2020, but still no updates. That's been the case with a lot of people. So if you've already applied, I can't really help in expediting that process. Now, Pradeep Singh, hi, Mr. Shariq. I just got EAPR. What are the present timelines leading to MEP and PPR? It's hard to give any timelines. As I said, if you're outside of Canada, expect 5 to 6 months, even more than that. If it is anything less than that, then you are one of the lucky ones these days. Arjun, my wife's passport doesn't have my name in her passport, and therefore PCC will also not have it. Does it make a difference to IRCC, or my marriage certificate will suffice? It has to be there, and I know that this is one issue with Indian passport and PCC. Ideally, if it is there, it is great. But if it is not there and you can provide proper reasoning for that, that can work. And that's where I said that if we can have a live discussion, we can actually talk about all of your stuff. I can provide some insight, and then you can share your process, Arjun. Akib Shahzad, Salam Bhai, Walaikum Assalam, Akib. Waleed Al Sadiq, what's the best way for a foreign student in Quebec for 2 years to apply for PR? Many things. Now, there's a lot of options, Waleed. Even if you're doing your study in Quebec, that's Canadian study. So Quebec is one option. So you could look at Quebec, and then there are options elsewhere as well. Very recently, I've had a client who's done his master's from Quebec based university and moved to Ontario, been working here, and now has recently applied for PR under FSW. So it depends on your profile. Just this piece of information is not enough, and that's why I say to people that it's ill-advising if I just say anything on this, and that's why I don't really do it over here. Sumit, how much French can increase the job opportunities outside Quebec? French, if you have French ability, that's great. See, Canada has 2 official languages, so there's a lot of government jobs which require you to be bilingual. So this increases your chances. There's a lot of other jobs as well, which are not government jobs, but if you're bilingual, that increases your chances as well. Recently, I met a banker here in Toronto. who said that the job that he got was for the reason that he was bilingual, because he had to deal with such clients. So it greatly increases your chances. Arjun, I have disclosed my experience in the application, secondary applicant. I don't want my company to be informed about this. Can I upload my joining letter plus place? If you're, excuse me, if you're not the primary applicant, then absolutely no issue. Or if this is not the experience, even if you're a primary applicant and this is not the experience for which you're claiming points, then that's fine. As long as you provide some evidence that what have you been doing in that particular time frame, that's absolutely fine. Rehan Ahmed, hi Shariq, good to see you. I hope everything fine at your end because you were not online for last few weeks. Thanks for asking, Rehan. All is well. It's just a few things here and there, some family issues, some health issues. And that's why I've not been active. And it might not be as frequent, but I will try and sort of not disappear completely as it happened for like a month or so. Thanks for asking, buddy. Now, Fareed, it's not mandatory, but putting up a CV within an LMIA FSP application is always good. Putting up a CV is always good. Hi, sir. Any chances of 477 in February? 477 is a very realistic chance, Gurpreet, my friend. It's already down to 469. So 477, if in Feb, probably you're waiting for your EC or something like that. That's why you're saying 477 in Feb. Yes, very strong chances. Rehan, anyhow, I got IT in last drop. Brilliant, Rehan. That's great news. Congratulations. Good luck with the process now onwards. My question is, I have declared my experience in IT, which I am not getting salary in my account, but some other money is receiving in the form of checks, which is not showing salary. So can I show PUF in my spouse account declared as primary applicant of POF, although she is secondary applicant, or should I show the same bank statement of mine? Which now, Rehan, I'd love to comment on this, but I need to know the whole process, know the whole situation. It's not really clear. If you were being paid and that was through checks, perfectly fine. You can use one or two of those checks maybe, or if you deposited it somewhere, if you have any record of those checks, maybe your employer who gave the check, they have some check number, or your banker, that will be great. Now, in terms of proof of funds, I'm a little confused. You're the primary applicant, I believe, and you are the primary applicant and you want the proof of funds in your spouse account. Now, that's fine. It will be better if it is a joint account, you and your wife. But if it is only in her name, then you have to show through documentation that these funds are accessible to you, because it is the primary applicant who is responsible for having the funds with them. You know, once you move to Canada, you need to show access to those funds. So if it is not you who is having those funds, then you have to show that you have access to these. So what I would recommend is that you need to have documentation for that, or you may actually have a joint account. Again, Rehan, you had an ITA, just like Arjun. I extend this offer to you that in our next week sessions, and you can just drop me an email confirming if you would like that, or you can drop a comment and then I can get in touch with you, or or share your contact, how I can get in touch with you, maybe your email or something like that. Probably next session, I can have you live on this call for like 10 minutes, where we can discuss first. We can discuss as to all the process that you've done yourself. That will definitely help a lot of people know how to do things on their own. And then with your ITA documents, you can have your queries. Maybe during that time, you can share some details with me, and I can tell you. Again, that will be greatly beneficial for a lot of people who are doing it themselves, so that they don't really make all those little mistakes, and the chances of success are there. So I extend this offer to you as well. It's for Arjun, it's for Rehan, both lucky folks who have the ITA now. We will discuss all the different processes that you've done, and we will. I will help you with these ITA related queries that you have. You can get in touch. Just drop in an email on the email address, which is there on the screen, info@shariqimmigration.com, or leave a comment with your contact details somehow, and I can get in touch with you. Perfect. Hashim Malik, what are the chances for a person who have completed, excuse me, bachelor's and master's in accounting from Australia, age 26? Hashim, if you have a master's, now doing a master's from any particular country doesn't really give you any advantage other than the fact that if you've done it from Canada, only then you have points. So you've done it from Australia, you've done it from Ireland, you've done it from Pakistan, you've done it from Bangladesh. It doesn't really make any difference in between all these. You have a master's, so in terms of education, there seems to be a great chance that you will have highest level of points for education. Now your age is less than 30, so you're getting those points. But I do feel that at this age, with a master's, you might not have a lot of work experience. For Federal Skilled Worker Program, as well as the Ontario PNP, if you're looking at being nominated as an auditor and accountant, you must be looking at work experience of 3 years, full-time work experience of 3 years in one particular occupation, and not a bit of here and there. If you have that, or you're looking at being able to achieve 3 years of work experience in maybe a year's time or something like that, there are great possibilities for you. Ielts, you have to score well in Ielts. We're looking at the CLB 9 level, which is 8 in listening and 7 in all other modules. So if these are the things which you already have, or you're in a good position to achieve, there's good chances for you, Hashim. Abdul Momin Fahmi, I finally got my Bachelor ECA and IELTS done, but because of my age, Express Entry is not for me. Can I send my credential to you for recommendations? Abdul Momin, you can definitely email your credentials. My staff will do a basic assessment as to where we see you are. If you want to discuss your case in specific and know what possibilities you have, you can go on my website and book a consultation session. It's a 30-minute online session where I will have all your details and I will specifically tell you what are the options that you have. It's charged at 100 Canadian dollars for the 30-minute session. That's the way to go about for discussing specifically your cases. But generally, you can send an email with all your details. Myself or my staff, we will do a basic assessment and let you know where it stands. But if you want to specifically discuss your case, you have to book a paid consultation session. And that's for anybody who would want. I do not really like that. This is my profession. This is my bread and butter. I try and help people, but those who want to have specific advising, they definitely have to pay for the time, because otherwise you can't really be spending time on all these profiles. Hello, I have heard that process of Canada immigration has stopped. Absolutely not true. Arjun, that will be great, Arjun. I would request you the email address that is there on the screen, because see, otherwise if you mention your email address publicly on YouTube or somewhere, that might actually, a lot of people might. So I would greatly appreciate if you can drop an email on info@shariqimmigration.com. Your best email to reach you, to contact you, and I'll get back to you, and then we can schedule for the next week, and I can have your details, and we can do something. Thanks for extending that offer, Arjun. Hi Zishan, hope you're still watching. That's a good old friend from my childhood putting up a comment. Khwaja Hassan, any update on Alberta or other PNP opening up? So Alberta right now is not inviting people from outside, but other PNPs are open. PNPs are not closed. Keep in mind, I saw one of the comments that Canada immigration is closed. No. Two examples, Arjun and Rehan both have received ITAs in the latest draws. ITAs are being issued, applications are being submitted. I know people personally, some of my clients, some other people who've received their final PR approvals in this time. Invitations have been sent by provinces as well. Ontario has been doing it, other provinces. So immigration is ongoing. Even temporary visas are being granted. Student visas are being granted. So there's no pause on Canadian immigration. It is going full swing. There are delays in processing for obvious reasons, but immigration process is ongoing right now, folks. Gurpreet Singh, do we need to upload proof of salary for the Indian work experience, or only experience letter has to be uploaded? And I am Gurpreet, good question. The requirement is only to upload work experience letter. So if you work reference letter, if you are able to upload that, it has all the details, you meet the basic requirement. But if it is one of those work experience for which you are claiming points, then it is advisable to attach some other documentation as well. Now, this varies from case to case. See, if you are providing experience letter for an organization which is a well-established, well-known organization, it is a multinational or a major Indian corporation, because you mentioned that this was from India, there might not be a need for that. They can, but if it is not a well-known entity and the same transactions are somehow not being shown in your bank account, then it is advisable if you could provide proof of those payments. And then the officer will, even if the officer has a doubt, he or she might not raise a question, look at the document, that's fine. But if they're not convinced and then they ask you, that means that there is some suspicion, and then you are the one who has to prove through documents. So it's not required. Depending on the situation, it is recommended. If it is easy to provide, you can provide it. But if you're not providing it, it's not a requirement. Khwaja Hassan, what's the minimum for investment category for Canada, or how do Khwaja Hassan, I have done videos on business immigration. You can have a look at that. There's dozens of options. So investment, realistically, you must be looking at invest. If you're looking for PNP programs, the minimum that is there is about 150,000 Canadian dollars for Manitoba. But realistically, you should be willing to invest 250 to 300,000 Canadian dollars. Even if you would want startup visa is very different. To explain how it works is like a whole that might actually require a dedicated video on that. But you have to come up with the business plan. You have to submit it to an angel investor, a venture capitalist, or a business incubator. They review it, and if they offer you a letter confirming that they will be funding your business visa, then that is how you get into startup visa. So it's not just that you come up with a plan and you yourself get the visa. Rehan Ahmed, thanks for commenting. Can I open joint account with my wife after ITA? Does it have a bad impact? You can do that. If the funds are already there in your account, you just show the transactions. You show the transactions that it was there in your wife's account. You provide that bank statement. You show the transaction. And in letter of explanation, you can show that these funds were there with my wife, but now we've put it in a joint account. Your wife can put it in writing that these funds are now accessible by both of you. It is the ownership for both of you. So absolutely no issue. And Rehan, just like Arjun, I would really appreciate if you're fine with me taking you online live for the next session or the session after that, for like a 5-10 minutes talk where you share your experience with all other listeners, attendees, about all the processes that you've done, and then you can discuss these little things, and I can guide you on those. So that will be learning for all of us. Awesome. Good, Arjun. I'll be waiting for your email. Asim, I am Masters CLB7, age 44, NOC 401, husband is 50, CLB. Sorry, it is Asima. Asima, age 44, your chances of skill migration are almost none. I don't, I'll just mention one thing over here. I get to have all these emails coming in, queries coming in. My staff gets to see all the social media posts and the WhatsApp texts. We have a policy where I know a lot of people would want to migrate out of their current country of residence and move to Canada or other developed countries. But it's not that everybody can make it. I don't want to break any hearts, but I want to be realistic. And I want you people to understand this because that is where this is the reason that a lot of scam happens and there's a lot of fraud. There are two things: basic eligibility and being in a position. There are a lot of people who've asked questions. They have CRS scores of 460s and 450s. Now, these are very competitive profiles, but right now the situation is that even they are in a position where they might not get an invitation. So eligibility is one thing, and being in a strong position or a realistic position for an invitation, for a chance of immigration is a different thing. If you meet basic eligibility, nobody's stopping you from proceeding, putting up your application, but you have to be realistic, So I keep telling people what the realistic thing is, and that's where I see a lot of people sometimes write back to us that we've met with 5 other consultants in the country that we are in, and they said that we're eligible. Well, that's true. I don't have a problem. If you are eligible and you would want to use my services, you pay for those services and we can put up your application, but the chances of getting an invite are not so much. So just taking this as an example, Asima, because of your age, you're losing a lot of points. Realistically, skill migration streams in which people from outside of Canada are invited doesn't seem likely for you. CLB7, again, nothing impressive in the current competitive scenario. I would suggest you don't have a lot of chances. If there is a possibility of you being able to invest in Canada, something like 150 to 200,000 Canadian dollars, then there are possibilities over there. Otherwise, I don't see much chances out there. Gurpreet, salary slips are fine as I only have last 4 months salary transaction by account. Yeah, salary slips are fine. And if you can just show the last 4 transactions, even that should be fine. Now, Preet Singh, does PR processing of candidates with LMIA expedited by IRCC? Not really. Not really. Right now, there's a lot of people who have work. Only if it is an essential work, they might do it. But Preet, it doesn't really impact if it is an LMI based one. Muhammad Hassan Atiq, if an application applied without accompanying spouse and gets the IT after receiving IT, can he add spouse? Any explanation have to submit? No. This is a tricky one. So if you were already married and you applied non-accompanying, now you cannot add because your spouse is already added in your overall profile. You're just saying that it is non-accompanying. So non-accompanying spouse case does not mean that you do not declare your spouse. You declare your spouse. You just say that they will not be accompanying me. So how come once you have the ITA is that you can now say that they'll accompany you? If they'll accompany you, then the officer will look at the change of score. And if your score is below the cutoff score for that particular draw, then you're rejected. And if that is the case, which will be the case, I believe, for the reason that you had non-accompanying spouse, then the best way to go about is that proceed with your PR application. Once your PR application is done, you land in Canada, you have your PR finalized, because your PR is finalized once you land in Canada. In about 2 to 3 weeks time from that, once you have your few of your local processes being done, like you have your bank account, you have your PR card and all those things, you can apply the spousal sponsorship application, and then they can move to Canada. In your instance, non-accompanying spouse, now you can't really add that. So, Braze, any chances 461, sir? It's still a bit of a stretch. It will fall down, inshallah. Hassan Ahmed Khan, name Hassan, age 26, married, education MBA, 16 years education. With 16 years education, the chances are very low. What I would suggest is that either you improve your education in Pakistan, or you could look at the opportunity of doing studies in Canada. Gautam, I'm a chef with 7 years experience and education 12 pass. 1 year diploma, hotel management, 30 CLB 6. I can apply. You can definitely apply, but keep in mind for the stream that you're looking at, you either need to have a Canadian qualification or a job offer. Without that, it will be difficult. There is a separate stream for skilled trades as well. I would suggest you start looking for jobs. It's not easy. It's tough, but that is where the possibility is for you. So that's it. We've actually done about an hour. Thank you again for all of you joining in today's session. As I said, I will try my best to be more regular in this due to some personal reasons. I've not really been able to focus a lot on work lately. It still is the case, but I will try and do these sessions regularly. Once again, I invite people who have done some either who've done the whole process themselves, or who are in the process and have done their EC and IELTS. Please come forward. Do leave your comments or do drop an email, and I would want to bring in such people on my live sessions so that you can share your experience for all those who are looking at doing things on their own, so that they don't make their mistakes. And there is greater learning for the whole of community. For those who want to use the services, you can go on my website. The website is there, Shariq Immigration, and there is then option of book a consultation. These are paid consultations. A 30-minute consultation session is for 100 Canadian dollars, where I will tell you specifically about your case. It has to be a paid service because I have to invest my time, and this is my bread and butter. If you would want to move further with the processing, we let you know what are the possibilities. For those of you who are part of the process, and there are sometimes these little things where you want specific advising, you can also book that consultation session. It's just 100 Canadian dollars, and you can have answers to some specific queries if you're already in the process, or if there are certain things that you would like to know, and you would really not want to invest a lot of money for the overall case. So that's all for today. Thank you for joining. Do like the social media platforms, because that sort of helps promote this. Take very good care of yourself and your families wherever in the world you are. It's COVID situation. It's winter in most part of the world, so it's flu season as well. So do take safety measures, and hopefully I'll see you in a week's time from now. Till that time, bye bye and Allah Hafiz.